Franz's pale lips trembled slightly as he tried to speak. The water in the bathtub rippled gently, and his wet hand moved weakly inside it. Aleisha turned towards him, as if his slight movement attracted her involuntarily. As she approached the basin, the eyes of Lucius and the attending servants followed her with apparent eagerness. Their concentration made her hesitate, but Franz, noticing this, turned his head uneasily towards Lucius. Lucius read the silent command in the prince's gaze, and he quickly led the doctor and servants out of the room. Once everyone left, silence fell. All that could be heard was the crackling of wood in the stove. Perhaps they feared that the prince would get cold inside, so they piled firewood to the extreme, as if they were preparing for the harsh winter. As a result, Aleisha, in her velvet dress, felt as if she was about to boil. "Aleisha, Lady Ambrose." Franz called her again, while she was wiping her forehead with a handkerchief. His voice was clearer this time and more steady. She placed the handkerchief on the side table and slowly approached the basin. Even during their marriage, she had rarely seen his bare torso, and now, it was clearly visible under the clear water. She always thought that his face alone was perfect, but his body also looked like a sculpture. So that's why the ladies of the nobility were whispering that I was a lucky woman. She finally began to realize the meaning of those envy-filled looks. However, contrary to what they thought, she was never allowed to touch him without his permission. "I have a request." His weak voice pulled her from her thoughts. She knelt by the basin, expressionless on her face. When their eyes met, Franz tried to put a smile on his lips. In the past, seeing him like this would have made her cry out of pity. But she was no longer that woman. When he said he had a request, her heart froze again. Request, of course. Always, then as now, he sees only one function in it. "Come in, His Highness the Second Prince." She forced herself to respond politely, and suppressed the urge to smile sarcastically. Franz hesitated, unsure of saying what was on his mind. I found his hesitation disgusting. "Just say it. Ask me to comfort you. Ask me to neutralize your body's mana. Isn't that why you came to the Ambroses yourself?" You called me Franz, excuse me?" His words surprised her. She blinked in surprise. "What did you say?" "So, Franz." "Huh," he gasped as he tried to breathe, as if just talking was too much for him. Her gaze lowered involuntarily, and her eyes widened. Despite the temperature of the room, which made sweat drip from her forehead, a thin layer of ice covered the surface of the water. Is the situation that bad? She finally realized, albeit indirectly, how destructive the mana was inflicting on his body. Her spine shivered. When he met her gaze, Franz turned away shyly. As his face shrunk, the ice thickened and cracked. "Please, don't worry about him." Aleisha surprised herself, almost reaching for the basin. If he hadn't stopped her, she might have involuntarily used her fire mana to alleviate his suffering. "So what is your request?" I want you to keep calling me Franz, always." "Just that?" "Yes." I stared at him in confusion. Frost thickened on his golden hair. As she stared expressionlessly, he drew a bitter smile on his lips and added, "Is this too much for me?" Aleisha, she hated him. In this very room, she was killed on his orders. If she had killed him now, no ruler would have blamed her. But she didn't want that. They say people don't change that easily, right? How ironic that was. The hesitant Aleisha isn't quite dead, it seems. Franz may have seemed a different man now. But this change means nothing to her. "I was the one who had to change, so why are you the only one who changed now?" "No, I will." She answered coldly and got up. Then, without turning, she walked towards the side room that Lucius had shown her the night before. As soon as she entered and began to close the door, his faint voice reached her, "Cover your ears. Do not listen. No matter how many voices you hear." That night, until dawn, groans of pain echoed from Franz's room. Prince Franz went to the Ambrose Palace himself to fetch you, didn't he? Yes, and it was an honor. This kind of premarital care is heartwarming. The Empress smiled sweetly as she poured the tea. Aleisha was at a reception with her. Last night, Franz writhed in pain until the morning. Lucius and the servants entered and left his room several times. Changing water and burning wood did not stop until dawn. Forgive me for my ugly appearance. But when breakfast came, Franz appeared completely balanced. Anyone who had not seen him yesterday would not have believed what he went through. He apologized for last night with a few words, and ate his food as if nothing had happened. Even the servants did not show any reaction. It seemed like everyone in the second prince's palace was used to this. That was what terrified Aleisha more than anything. Was it like this in my previous life too? Would Franz have endured the same pain and started his day like this? You'll never know. In her past life, they did not share breakfast. And they will never share it. Thank you for your kind words. I still lack a lot of things, but I will strive to learn. Oh, my little one, the Empress exhaled in relief at Aleisha's humility. Aleisha smiled inwardly. She was no longer the confused girl in wilting flowers and a country dress. Today's dress was chosen by Franz himself. After years of studying etiquette, she was spotless. She trained herself to be a worthy equal to Franz. I don't see any deficiency in you at all. With a smile, the Empress lifted a small bell and shook it gently. Looks like Aleisha made a good first impression. I passed the exam. Before the bell ringing faded, uniformed maids appeared. My new daughter-in-law deserves a little gift. You've learned a lot, and now, let's see. The Empress examined Aleisha's appearance from head to toe. Aleisha clenched her hands nervously. Despite her effort to appear perfect, the Empress's searching eye will see the unseen. Simplicity is beautiful, but too much is boring. Bring a jewelry box. Your order, Your Majesty. The Empress tilted her head with a graceful smile. The spark of her brown eyes reminded Aleisha of Prince Crichton. Now that we have received the second princess, there is no more worry. I heard that you have fire mana? This perfectly complements Franz's ice mana. Perfect balance. We brought the jewel box. When the maid returned, the Empress turned her head. Aleisha was expecting a modest little box. But she was surprised by a box the size of a suitcase. When opened, a row of hooks appeared like a jewelry cabinet, each one holding a sparkling jewel, with no gaps. The lower part was full of drawers, and whenever a drawer opened, the room lit up with a magical glow. Each piece is a wealth in itself. Now I understand why they say that the Empress's influence is great. Aleisha pondered, not fascinated by beauty, but immersed in thought. Seeing the Empress's jewelry answered a question that had always puzzled her. Although her mana is weaker than that of the previous Empress, Franz's mother, however, this woman maintained her position and ruled with decency. Everyone thought it was thanks to her rich family, the Roshaniaks. But no one knew the extent of that wealth, until now. Let me see. Ah, this suits you. The Empress chose a luxurious necklace with a ruby in the middle, the size of a gold coin. It matches perfectly with your red hair. Welcome to the imperial family. Thank you for this kind welcome. Aleisha stood, spreading her skirt in a formal bow. The Empress nodded gently, motioning for the maid to place the necklace on her. However, as the maid approached, Aleisha took a step back and said, Your Majesty, if you will excuse me. The Empress turned to her, and Aleisha raised her hand and pointed to another necklace inside the box. I would like to receive this, if your Majesty permits me. The Empress's gaze changed for a moment as she looked at the piece that Aleisha had chosen.